This is 4th grade GoMath mid-chapter checkpoint for Chapter 5. The first part is vocabulary. Choose the best term from the box. We have the terms common factor, divisible, and factor. A number that is multiplied by another number to find a product is called a factor. If you weren't sure of that, you could look on page 279. A number is blank by another number if the quotient is a counting number and the remainder is 0. So that is divisible. And that's on page 286. List all the factors from greatest to least. So our first number is 8. So the factors of 8 are 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. The directions said to list those from greatest to least. So 1, 2, 4, and 8 are the factors of 8. 14, 1 times 14 gives me 14, and 2 times 7. So 1, 2, 7, 14 are the factors of 14. Next, we have, is 6 a factor of the number? So that means 6 times something, 6 times another counting number, does that give me 81? Well, I know some things about the number 6. For a number to be a multiple, that means the answer to 6 times something. For a number to be a multiple of 6, it also has to be a multiple of 2 and 3. So if it's a multiple of 2, it has to be an even number. 81 is not even. Even though I can say 3 times 27 to get 81, there's nothing times 6 that will give me 81. It's not even, so I know that answer is no. Once again, 45. I can say 6 times 7 is 42, and I can say 6 times 8 is 48, but there's not a whole number times 6 that will give me 45. No, it's also odd. So these are both odd. They're not divisible by 2, so they can't be divisible by 6. Then we have the number 42. Just said that 6 times 7 is 42, so is 6 a factor of 42? The answer is yes. And then we have 56. I know that 6 times 8 is 48. That's close. And 6 times 9 is 54. 6 times 10 is 60. So that's one way I can make a list of the multiples of 6. Another way is to think, well, is it divisible by 2? Yes, it's even, so it's divisible by 2, but is it divisible by 3? 5 plus 6 is 11. 11 is not divisible by 3 because we have a remainder. So I know that 56 is not a multiple of 6, and so 6 is not a factor of 56. There's different ways I can solve that. Problems 9 and 10 say list all the factor pairs in the table of 64. So 64, 1 times 64 is 64. So that would be 1 and 64. 2 times 32, because it's even, I know 2 is a factor, is 64. So I have 2 and 32. 3 won't work because 6 plus 4 is 10. But I know that 4 will work just from doing lots of multiplication, and I know that 4 times 16 is 64, so I have 4 and 16 as factors. And then the next factor I know that works is 8 times 8 is 64. And so I'm just going to I can put the 8 twice, but if I was listing the factors in order from least to greatest, I would write 1, 2, 4, 8 just one time, 16, 32, and 64. And from the previous activity that you did to the beginning of this unit, you know that 64 is a perfect square. It's a square number. If you were to tile 64, one of your area models would be a square because it would be 8 rows and 8 columns. The number 44. 1 times 44 is 44, so there's 1 and 44. 2 times 22, and I know that 2 is a factor because 44 is even. And then I know 4 times 11 is 44. And so 4 and 11. I'll list those in order just for good practice. 1, 2, 4, 11, 22, and 44. There are your factors of 44. List the common factors of the numbers. So If you don't know those off the top of your head, you would list the factors of 9, 1 times 9, and 3 times 3. And then list the factors of 18, 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6. And then the common factors would be the ones that they both have. They both have a 1, they both have 3, and they both have 9. So the common factors are 1, 3, and 9 for 9 and 18. List the common factors of 20 and 50. So when we look at 20, the way that we multiply and get 20, we can say 1 times 20, 2 times 10, and 4 times 5. Those are the factors of 20. When we look for the factors of 50, we have 1 times 50, 2 times 25, 5 times 10. So what are the common factors? 1, it's going to be a common factor to all whole numbers. 2, and 5, and 10. So we have 4 common factors. So that is review part 1 for the Min chapter review for chapter 5 in GoMath. Slowly move that up there so you can see. All right, and we'll go ahead and do the video for part 2, and you can watch that after you do your work for from page 298.